yeah, quickly, Greg, you've got a fantastic offer for people watching this show. We've got 2 season tickets to give away.
What we said is we give 2 season tickets away. Those 2 season tickets will also get 2 tickets to the Challenge Cup final.
Wow.
And also they'll get 2 tickets, the chance to pick one of the home games, or basically they can come have hospitality before the game.
What's the question that you want to put out there that people have got to get right to be entered into the draw? Yeah, okay.
Closest wins is what...
Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders, the show dedicated to promoting rugby league of all formats and levels outside the traditional heartlands. From tips and tricks for on-field success to interviews with players and coaches and everything in between. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or an absolute newcomer, this show is for you. So grab your headphones, sit back and get ready for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. Okay, welcome to this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders podcast. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl.
And on this week, we've got probably my most exciting guest, to be honest. If I'm completely honest, that's the CEO of the Midland Hurricanes, Greg Wood. We're going to be talking about 6 local breaking news stories from around the Midlands and the wider game, which including national recognition from one of our recent guests, which is great. We'll also talk about a local amateur team signing international players within the Midlands, which all sounds brilliant. And also we'll chat to Greg about what we can actually do to develop rugby league outside of the traditional heartlands. So that's what we're doing. Excited, Karl?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, so our next guest cut his teeth in pro cricket. Am I right in thinking?
Yeah, that's correct. Bit of a strange story how we got here, but yeah.
And then from there, through different sort of corporate roles and everything, which no doubt we'll talk about, quite a varied professional career, has somehow ended up as the CEO of the Midland Hurricane. So also we've got to give a mention to Big Red, to the Group Operations Director of Big Red, who are the major sponsors of the Midland Hurricanes, owners of Midland Hurricanes. So we need to tip our hat to them because they're obviously making this happen, which is great. Yeah, so we always start off with our set of 6. So this is 6 breaking news stories from around the Midlands. So over to you, Karl.
Yeah, so we've got a few great stories this week. So tackle 1 is Leamington Royals have re-signed last year's top try scorer, Harry Clark. Top scorer in more than one ways if you read their social media. And then Telford Raiders have also announced the signing of a Fijian prop, Archie Bailey, who I believe he's played for the Army. He also played in this year's Challenge Cup, I believe.
There's something about the word Fijian on a rugby pitch. Right? You just know you're
instantly
getting
strikes a little bit of fear in the opponents, doesn't it? Yeah.
You know what kind of game you're in for. That's
exactly.
Sure.
Oh, great news.
Right, tackle 2. Coventry Bears are seeking volunteers to help in the 2023 season, including for their junior coaches. They're also after club photographers and media volunteers, plus other roles. I know they're recruiting for these at the minute, so if you visit coventrybears.com for more details.
Yeah, and I think, it's probably worth just mentioning the important role that volunteers in the game do for every team, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. At our level, it's... Without the volunteers, the clubs don't run, do they?
I'd say that every sport, everywhere I've played, you can't survive without. Every club that you've been to, you know there'll be at least 3 people you go, that club can't survive with that person, person. They're always volunteers. It's never a paid person, but everyone will say, we won't be a club without that person. It's the same everywhere. Hurricanes are the same. We put an ad out a couple of weeks ago saying anyone that wants to be involved in any way, shape or form, give us a shout. And like I say, the clubs can't survive without them, 100%.
You got to hope that it's people's hobby, aren't you? If it's a hobby, then people are interested. It'll go from there. Right, tackle 3 then. Nottingham Outlaws fixtures have been released. So they're going to be playing this year in the Division 1 of the Yorkshire League against teams like Charlton Rovers, Stanley Rangers, Bramley Buffaloes, just to name a few. And they kick off their season with a trip to Cutsike Raiders on the 15th of April.
Amazing.
So that's great for another Midlands team plying the trade out in the Yorkshire divisions. Tackle 4, Midlands Hurricanes recorded their 2nd win of the season, defeating Hull Dockers 50 points to 4, which was an away tie over in Hull. Although Hull Dockers are an amateur club, they are a very strong amateur club. Potentially a bit of a banana peel, that one. So, Greg, over to you. How did it go?
Yeah, no, like you say, going into it, it was very much. It's not these are amateur, we're not kind of thing. You knew full well if we weren't on it, they'd be turning us over kind of thing. Bit of needle in the game as well. We do have a couple of lads from Hull, some even ex-Hull Dockers. So, so there was an extra bit of spice in the game. But no, it was a great day. To be fair, we played at Hull KR, so played at Craven Park. I think they recorded just over 700 people there as well. So
that's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Good crowd out. But yeah, the lads did really well. Kind of stuck to the gameplay. If I'm honest, I think it suited us being at Craven Park. Bit of a bit bigger field. Suited the way we play, and I think stuck to the game plan very well. A bit of fitness kind of came into play in the second half as well, and things like that, because the amateur boys, obviously, they get unlimited subs, and with it only being 8, as I say, that
all right, do they get unlimited subs in the Challenge Cup then? Is that a different?
Not in the Challenge Cup, they don't, but in week to week, they'll have unlimited interchanges.
Oh, so see what they're saying. Yeah,
it's only 8. They might be not be getting to roll on and off as much as usual.
They're not used to it as much as
and like I say, covering that bigger field. I think it all it came together well, but we definitely got a good workout. Like I say, it was 14-4 at half time. And then, as I say, the second half came, we kind of just gathered momentum, and the lads eased away from it. But it definitely wasn't as easy as it maybe did look if you just look at the result.
Yeah, I can imagine they're a very good team.
It was. I follow the Hurricanes on the Our League app. So, every time there's a try or something going on, it pops up a notification. I was getting right into it. I was working. I was like, okay, another
2 wins from 2 this season as well,
Yeah, good start. I think, obviously, Cornwall last week, that again, on paper, you'd say we probably should be stronger, but that first game nerves, everything like new stadium, new big occasion, things that another potential banana skin. But the lads, the best thing for me is that they've stuck to a game plan well. They've not let the occasion kind of eat into it, and like last week it could have been those personal battles kind of thing, because there were plenty of them on the field. That was clear to see. But no, good start. Obviously Sunday will be a much different test, playing Dewsbury away, coming down from the league above. So
we'll touch on that in a bit. So then, fifth and last week's guest, Graham Berry, he's received national recognition for his MNDA Rugby League shirt that he was doing. It was all around Twitter this week. Rob Burrow was photographed wearing his shirt, so not only does it show we're on point with our guests, but yeah, it was great to see for MNDA. And I think great for Graham.
I'm personal friends with Graham, and I know he idolises Rob Burrow. For him to put the shirt on, and he does graft a lot to raise awareness and funds for MNDA, so that's brilliant. He gets a bit of recognition there.
6 tackle then. Challenge Cup draw has been made this week, so I won't go through all the fixtures. I've just picked a couple of the sort of outsider teams, should we say. So Southern Conference League champions, West Warriors. They were the league winners in 2021 and 2022 SCL champions. They've been drawn against the Widnes Vikings, so that's a big game for them. North Wales Crusaders travelled to Thatto Heath, St Helens side. They're also the NCL champions. And then, of course, we've already touched on it, Midlands Hurricanes will travel away to play Wigan side, Oral St James. So another banana skin there. Yeah. It's a good draw in one respect for you, but again, another seasoned amateur team. It's, those guys love the rugby up there, don't they? It's going to be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, well, and the difference is it'll be on their own patch, so it'll be at their ground. Like I say, we kind of benefited from the almost neutral venue at Hull this week. We won't have that luck going there, so expecting it to be another tough one.
Excellent. And then final story, which I didn't have in my set of 6, which is sort of breaking news, really. There's a new team. I've just been speaking to them today, which are going to be based in Rugeley, based at Rugeley Rugby Union Club. They've just launched their social media, so anybody looking to play rugby in sort of Cannock, Rugeley, Staffordshire area, there's going to be a new club for you there. They're going to be playing in the Merit League this year. So if you're interested, 26th of April, they're going to start their pre-season training at 7 o'clock, which is at Rugeley Rugby Club. And if you want any more information, just find them on Facebook and search Rugeley Rugby Club.
Yeah, just on the back of that, we had, through our Instagram, we had a guy message us and sort of said, do you know any of any clubs around Utoxeter?
Yeah.
And we'd just been talking about Rugeley And so I said, "Oh, how far is Rugeley from you?" And he was like, 20 minutes. Brilliant, you know. Perfect. So if there's people out there that somehow end up listening to this, and you know you're scratching around for a club or you want some information, you want to get in touch, that's what this podcast is all about. So get in touch.
Absolutely.
You know, we may or may not have access to a certain database. we can you know certainly hook you up with a club or let you know what's going on, or maybe even keep a tally of different players around the region, and maybe there's a new club to be formed in that area.
Yeah, you could get a lot of people looking for something in the same area, put them in touch and see where it goes.
Yeah. So well, amazing.
2 weeks running, we've had 2 new clubs launched. So Worcester, Rugeley, it's going from strength to strength.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so we're going to hand over to you, Greg. In my head, I've got so many questions, and before we kind of started recording, you know, we were chatting away, and I was like, "Shit, we need to save this for the podcast."
Yeah, went through
really,
half of them.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. So it's probably only fair that we start with you and your journey. So if you can give us a bit of a down and dirty of your kind of route into rugby league, and
it's a bit of a funny. I've never played a game of rugby league in my life. So growing up, I give anything to go sports wise, but school was rugby union. So played rugby union at school. So because I was getting my rugby fix on a Saturday, football was Sundays. So hence club wise, never played rugby league. Played cricket in summer, and then from school got into cricket. Kind of got to 21, 22 playing full time, and probably just got too young. So I was playing 12 months round. I wasn't getting the kind of where everyone else would have a winter break. I was going away and going on tour. So I'm not complaining by any stretch. I was very, very lucky. I got to go around the world playing, but it just meant I never got that time off. So by the time I got to 2021, I thought I was burnt out. So I kind of made the choice to look. I could carry on as I am to 30, 35 and then have to get what I'd call a real job. Or I could make the plunge now and say, right, let's call it quits and start finding something else. And that's what I did. So at that point, it gave me the chance to get back into rugby. I'd already kind of been going down to my local rugby union club, doing pre-season training with them just as fitness. They had a brilliant bloke down there called Jim Kilfoyle, who made me sense that it was in my best interest to get back playing rugby, which I did, and I played there I've pretty much stopped now, but I played there for 15 years. I was first team captain for 10, so that was my kind of rugby background. And then been a Wakefield lad, always watched Wakefield, watched rugby league, and in fairness, I probably watched more league than union. Just personally, I just think it's a much better, quicker. It's more consistent. As I say, I'll probably insult some of my friends here, but you can get some really dour rugby union games, like where if it's a bit of kick tennis, a bit of a war of attrition kind of thing.
Yeah,
you don't have that luxury in league. You have to go forward, you have to attack, and it's so much more consistent and better to watch. So I've always watched more rugby league than I have rugby union. I've just never actually played. So that's my kind of sporting background. And then work-wise, as I say, I kind of got into the real world of work when I was 21, 22 and started working for different corporations. Started with Morrison's Manufacturing, then companies like Reckitt's, and I was always in operations. And then moved to a company called Big Red, November 21. So Big Red were already the sponsors of Huddersfield Giants. We're based in Huddersfield. So started there as group operations director, and it was just before I started, actually, conveniently, that Big Red decided to buy into what was Coventry Bears and rebrand it as the Midlands Hurricanes. So started there. We were kind of 50% owners at the time, and then we took it on full time last year as 100% owners. But yeah, so as part of my role as Big Red Group Operations Director, I was naturally getting involved with Hurricanes, seeing how it's operating as a business and things. And then, as I say, as we kind of became 100% owners, it kind of fell, not by default, but my kind of interest in wanting to get involved, it ended up that I kind of fell into the chief exec role of the club.
So if I was asking you what your day-to-day running of the club is, what would that consist of, really?
I was saying before.
Or is it everything?
Yeah, I was saying before, the term chief exec sounds a lot sexier than the role probably actually is. But no, we're probably not at the luxury of some of the bigger clubs where you've got a massive backroom staff and volunteers and everything like that. We are still kind of emerging through the ranks and things. So, yeah, a lot of the day-to-day running falls with myself. We're lucky this year that we are bringing more and more people in. So we've got kind of support with the social media side of stuff. We've got a good team there that do a lot of that.
Yeah.
We've got kind of brought on strength and conditioning coaches this year. We've got team manager, kit men and stuff like that. But the day-to-day running of the operation of the club falls with me.
So I think, and we was talking about before, like we think the rebranding was just like a stroke of genius. Yeah. How much involvement did you have in the actual rebranding, and kind of what was the conversations that were going on around that?
So me personally, it was probably the idea of being the Hurricanes was there before I kind of got involved. But as you say, it made absolute sense to do that. I think there was a lot of history with Coventry Bears and things like that, and it just giving the club an identity that everyone in the area could get behind and everyone can affiliate with is massive. So yeah, it was a real kind of turning point for us as well, and it's something that for me is going from strength to strength. I think it is a really strong brand, and I mean the colour purple might not be everyone's favourite, but it definitely stands out from the other clubs in the Super League. It's not your red and white, it's not your blue and reds and stuff like that. It does stand out, and it does seem to be getting some real kind of traction with it.
Well, I think from we was on about it before. We both played Coventry Bears in the past, so to follow them. It's hard work to get behind that.
No offence to Coventry Bears.
No offence.
But now as the Midlands Hurricanes, it feels like essentially everybody should be in the Midlands can now get behind you.
Yeah,
and
that's very much that is the vision. It's that all the clubs that you guys have all played for can all kind of affiliate with us as a brand, and think that's our kind of filter. That's the funnel upwards almost. So yeah, a lot of the things that we are trying to do and we do want to do is we want to make sure that we're not treading on toes of the Telfords, the Coventry, the Bulldogs, and all of that, and so that we've all got the kind of same goal, which is to hopefully have a powerhouse in the Midlands, and everyone's working towards that.
Because I found myself the other day like watching some clips, and I was just like, where can I get one of these shirts? Because I'll wear that, I mean that, I don't think I'd have done that if the branding wasn't as strong or as different. If it's a red and white shirt, definitely I wouldn't wear that. Being a Leeds fan, you wouldn't go anywhere near it either, would you? No. So, I think you're right. From my point of view, I think you've kind of nailed it there. So
fingers crossed. Like I said, we tried to make sure it was different to everyone else and something you've not seen before and things like that. And as I say, I think we have done that. It's just now it's about spreading it, getting it out there. The more purple we can see, the better. We said it last week at Hull. We were on the other side, in the other stand, but the 700 were sat opposite us. And you think, well, they're probably mainly going to be from Hull, but you could see pockets of purple in there, and it's great. Yeah. You can just look straight across and go, well, there's all our lot. They're there.
The people who are going to watch you at the minute, how much affiliation do you think they have with the amateur clubs in the area, or are they just general spectators that you've picked up from Birmingham? Have you any sort of idea?
I think we've got a mix, to be honest. I mean, we definitely have seen, since we moved to the stadium this year, people getting in touch. I live in the area. I've seen that you come into the stadium. I want to come watch. I've seen Rugby League on. I've seen the World Cup happening. I'm interested. Can I come? So we've definitely got those, what I'd call complete newbies that have come in, which is amazing. Yeah. And then we are trying to reach out to the clubs and create that link with them, so we can kind of like offer tickets and deals to all the clubs in the area and say, look, you guys can have X amount of tickets, distribute them to your juniors or whatever, so they can come for free. And hopefully, like I say, they'll say, I don't know, I'm a Telford player and I support the Hurricanes. Yeah. That for me is the vision. And then we've got the kids that are playing for all the juniors that want to aspire to get to that highest level, which hopefully one day could be Super League and play for the Midlands in it.
So you've been involved since 2021, roughly. Just kind of looking back, can you pick out a couple of moments where you thought, where it was like a pivotal moment, like there was a seismic shift in what you're doing, or it just felt different? And what was they, and And what was the story behind them?
I think 2 weeks ago, first game at the Alexander Stadium was massive. Granted, we do want to play in the main stadium this year. There was a couple of reasons we couldn't get in there, but it's still last weekend. It was absolutely, and it was an amazing day. We had probably the biggest gate that we've seen at a Hurricanes game, and the probably away travelling fans didn't have that many. You might play. So there's a big kind of shift depending on who you're playing in the league as to how many fans come. Yeah. So last year, kind of Keithley would bring bus loads down. So some other teams might literally have the players' family. That's it. Probably 90% of the crowd would say we're Midlands people last week, and it was our biggest crowd that we've had. So you kind of look at that and think, wow, we've made a real step change here in terms of the footprint, just the general, obviously the whole arena and where we're playing and stuff like that, and the theatre of the day was massive. So I think that was huge in terms of off the field, the commercial side. Like I said, hospitality was sold out. There's players and sponsors bar after with team speeches and stuff like that. So from a commercial side, I think last week was a real change. On the field, I think last year, biggest highlight was we beat Hunslet away 24-0. That was the first time Midlands or the Coventry Bears had gone to the Northern team and beat them away. And to nil them, obviously, on their own part was big. But I think the best is yet to come on the field, I would say. The way we're going about things this year, I've got strong hopes for how we're going. I think training twice a week, like I say, the additional stuff that we're doing away from training with the strength and conditioning side of stuff, the lads are fitter. You can see they're a lot more well-oiled because they're training together twice a week, because we're doing video analysis on a Tuesday night and Thursday nights. Hopefully they all kind of come together and we see this year, like I say, I've got high hopes that there'll be some more of those Hunslet away days this year.
Does it form part of the narrative when you're going up north to the players? Is it like, look, you're in their backyard now, let's show them what we're made of? And
massively. And I think, it's no secret quite a few of our lads are northerners anyway, so there's that bit of niggle in there that they might have played up there before and that they've been there. It might be their local team that they want to go and pinch, but yeah, massively turning away the Heartland teams in their backyards is a huge goal for us.
I suppose you touched on it off air when we were speaking. A couple of your lads are sort of dual reg out that we sort of Castleford and so that obviously they're trying to force their way into Super League team. So I'm assuming you're getting the best out of them. I know they scored. Two of the Cass lads scored 2 tries, didn't they, last week? Or was it 3 even?
Yeah, 3 between them. Yeah, so we've kind of, it is dual reg with Cass, but I'd say.
Can we just go a bit for those listening that don't quite understand that arrangement? Like, what is the deal? As in me, what is the?
So dual reg, it basically gives us the ability for players to move between Castleford and the Hurricanes without having to be signed at like a loan deal. So if you sign a loan, obviously you're with us and we have to sign them back again. They can literally jump between the two. So that's your standard dual reg. But I think that where we're hopefully trying to do it a bit different with Cass is it's more of a complete partnership. So we're benefiting from some of their coaching advice and things like that on our training sessions. We train on a Tuesday night at Castleford. Their reserves are training at the same time. We can run 13 on 13. You get in that full training session. We've got use of all their facilities and stuff like that. So it is a much more complete partnership rather than just literally we're borrowing players as and when they're available.
Yeah. And how many, if don't mind me asking, how many Midlands-based lads have you actually got in the team at the minute?
We've got, in the squad, we've got probably 5 or 6.
Excellent.
5 or 6 lads. Hayden Freeman, winger, he's our longest serving player between Coventry and Hurricanes, highest point scorer. He's been there through thick and thin. Unfortunately, he's broke his thumb at the moment, so we're waiting for him to come back.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but we have got a good core of lads, and for me, the goal is to increase that number.
So if you're looking at the amateur clubs in the area, have you got any sort of blueprint, any sort of plan, how you looking at possibly scouting or bringing them in, or a trials day, or you've got anything in the plans at the minute?
Yeah, for me, it's and the head coach Rich Squires, it's about getting out to the games once they start.
Yeah,
building kind of that relationship with all the clubs, because as you guys kind of touched on about the Coventry Bears link, I think historically there's been that really strong link, which has been great between the two clubs, but it's probably alienated others.
Yeah,
and we don't want people to think that Coventry is the feeder club for the Midlands Hurricanes. That's not what we want. We want all the clubs in the area to have that kind of link with us, and the best players from all get the opportunity to go, look, this guy's really standing out. Do you want to have a look at him? Get him to training on trial. Do you want him to play reserves? Get something like that. So that's the way I'd want it to go. Is getting Rich and out to the games. We have had kind of a few people already, names that have come forward to us that we're going to be looking at it as soon as the season starts, and then potentially, like you say, get them to training with us on a Tuesday, Thursday, and see how they go.
So it's never really looked more positive from a Midlands point of view, has it?
No, I think all of a sudden, instead of, okay, you might have to go to like a regional trial and play for the regional team, and then you maybe head off to university and get picked up at university or something like that. All of a sudden now, you stand out locally on the pitch, and there's a route. There is a route, to take this further, and then who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's the thing for us. I want to make sure that we've got eyes on the game, and equally people have got the opportunity to put people forward and say, look, have you seen this person? Have you had a look at this? And because there's got to be that pathway. I mean, last week you guys were talking about how do we get juniors from juniors into men's rugby.
Yeah.
For me, I think the opportunity potentially we've got to look at is that we have a Midlands academy or reserve system, because we could potentially get those guys playing against Castleford, Wakefield, the kind of reserve system, so they get that stepping stone from 15, 16-year-olds where you're probably not a man, to jumping into men's rugby is physically, it can be a big ask. Whereas if you get that kind of academy/reserve stepping stone, it eases them into it. And if we pull all the teams together in the area and say, right, let's create a reserves sector, could we kind of get somewhere in there with the kind of bigger boys and have a team that way?
And have you got? I read in your LinkedIn bio that you're very much into kind of KPIs and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And without obviously giving away anything that's sensitive or whatever, but what are the standout kind of KPIs for the team this year from your point of view?
Yeah, so on the field, team-wise, we've said playoffs. First time we've done it, we want to make the playoffs. So that's a key one, obviously. And to get to that end goal, there's a number of kind of in smaller KPIs that you set in there. There'll be game-specific ones and things like that. But the overall on the field we want to do this year is playoffs. I think that's what we've all set out for. That's what we want to do. For me, it's realistic. I think that the group of players we've put together, and like I said, the way we're training, the way we're building off the field, I think it's very, very doable. And I think it kind of announces that we're here. I think we've kind of set ourselves a bit above the kind of the bottom cluster of teams. I think we would be viewed as, right, you've kind of elevated yourself out of that, but now we need to be cemented in the middle and say, right, yeah, they do deserve to be here, and then we push from there and keep working our way up.
Well, you've got a golden opportunity with the Challenge Cup as well, haven't you? If you can get through next round, you potentially have a big draw there.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good draw last night. I thought there's a good mix, because there's a couple of amateur teams against each other. So there's still going to be amateur teams in the next round. Equally, there's some big boys. So Halifax pulled Fev, didn't they, and stuff like that.
So one of them going early doors, Yeah.
It's interesting. It's from a chief exec side, you kind of get your commercial head on. I think, do I want a Featherstone away for the finances and the kind of thing? But no, it's good. Obviously, everyone. It's like the FA Cup, and everyone loves a giant killer cup run. It gets that buzz about it. I think that's one thing that in the kind of RFL meetings and stuff have been discussed a lot. Is bringing the life back to the Challenge Cup, and do we get the Super League teams in earlier and stuff like that, so that they get the chance to go to Orrell, they get the chance to go to Wigan, and you get those, like you say, those FA Cup giant killer moments.
Get St Helens on a hill up in Barrow or something like that.
Yeah. See how they like that. Be a different challenge to the one they've just had, that's for sure. But no, that was kind of tabled as well. So where they take that, I don't know. But I think there's definitely that element of the cup that excites everyone. That's for sure.
Any inside info on changes to the Challenge Cup that we might better?
No, you know, I was thinking this other way here, thinking, right, RFL meetings, they do say sometimes, right, this stays within the room. I was like, right, which bits did they say? Which bits?
They have. Well, there's rumours knocking around it that they're going to change it in some sort of way, group stages and all sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they keep it as it is. To be honest with you, I quite like it how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've not heard anything cemented. Like I said, these were more ideas that were thrown around with how can you could kind of rejuvenate and stuff like that from other people in similar roles to me, to be honest. But no, I've not heard anything yet.
So
dodge that one.
Yeah, it's good for the podcast to get you sacked.
Yeah.
Just going back to like, have you got a KPI in regards to the support and the amount of supporters that come to the games, and also how do you know that the support are forging themselves into a true rugby league fan base?
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, we're on the first game. Repeat customer will be a big one. We've seen a massive uptake this year on season tickets, so I think that's clearly because you've got people with the intention we're going to come every week, which is nice to see it. And we're of a size of a club where I knew every season ticket all last year. We're now constantly getting season ticket. I'm like, oh, that's someone new, someone I've not even met that person. So that's great to see. I think, like I said, the repeat custom's a big one. Because you can give anyone a free ticket for the game. They come once and because it's free. Yeah. Like, for me, we've got to get people who think, right, I'm a Hurricanes fan now. Get those kind of repeat people coming in, week out. That are happy to pay, not just because financially it's good for the club, but for the club to be sustainable, we've got to have people that are willing to pay.
Well, it's entertainment. They're going to be entertained, aren't they? Yeah. If they're paying again, then they obviously value the entertainment that they're getting.
And that was the point I was making earlier about the kind of the whole day last week. It was a spectacle to that I think people would be happy to come and go, do you know what, that was worthwhile for me as a full family to come and have a good day out, and you're happy to pay for it and come week in, week out, hopefully.
Yeah. Just advertise it here. And what sort of cost are you looking? 2 adults, 2 kids. What's it going to cost them for a day out of the Hurricanes?
So it's £15 for an adult and £5 for a child. Like I say, we've got kind of Storm Chaser membership cards that we're trying to give out to the local rugby clubs in the area. So it's a Storm Chaser ticket would let the child get in free, and the accompanying adult come for £5.
Oh, right, okay.
So
fantastic value, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, my ambition is that every single Midlands club gets a glug of those tickets.
Yeah.
Ideally, they go, right, first game, the under-8s can come.
Yeah.
You dish them out to all the under-8s. All the under-8s come with a parent. Next week, right, guys, you've had your week, go to the under-9s. Under-9s go the week after, and so on and so on.
And then hopefully convert them into full-time supporters, and they start coming. Yeah.
Of those under-8s, if a few come the week after, brilliant. That's a few kids that might not have seen the game or got to come a few weeks ago. So those Storm Chaser tickets we're going to be dishing out. I'll be honest, we didn't dish them out for the first one because operationally we needed to make sure that the day was all right. We didn't want to have a load of tickets and a load of people and go, oh, shit, we've bitten off more we can chew here. So the plan is now to roll out those Storm Chaser tickets where, like I say, child enters free, adult comes for a £5.
Well, it's whet my appetite, I'll be honest with you. I haven't been to a game yet, but I've already I've watched the first 2 games this season. Yeah. And I'll be there this season, definitely. I'm definitely going down.
Well, I mean, one of our plans is to have one of the boxes, isn't it? The hospitality boxes.
Yeah.
And actually record a podcast whilst the game's going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that'd be a great idea. So we'll keep
we've got the media gantry up. You can get up there.
Oh, there you go.
If you like heights, you'll be all right. You might not want to go.
Just if you sort of look at the coaching team, you know, and the guys that work closely with the team, I mean, what's the vein of, you know, what's the ethos of the Hurricanes club, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think historically, like I say, we'd kind of been, we'd got in that bottom bracket where it was just, we just don't want to finish bottom as Coventry Bears, and then Coventry Bears started getting better, and then Midlands Hurricanes elevating it even more. And we've kind of eradicated the mentality of where we might go to a Heartlands team and you might be in the game for 60 minutes, they run away with the last 20 and kind of sit in the change room and go, good effort, we did okay there. That's gone now. That is not an acceptable mentality. We're going there to win.
Yeah.
And we've made a definite shift as a squad. And that obviously comes from the coaching staff and the entire club down. And it does filter through the players. We've brought a lot of guys in this year that are proven winners. We've got international rugby players in the squad and stuff like that. And these guys don't come to take part for 60 minutes and then lose it at the end. They come to play for 80 minutes and turn over the big teams and win the big games. And you can see that in training. Whereas, because I go to all the training sessions and things like that, there might have been not naivety, but kind of not the focus there that I'd want from a professional rugby club. That's gone now. The guys are there, they know they're there to work. And they put it in for the entire time that they're there. And we get at the moment, we're 2 games in, I know, but we've got the results on a Sunday. So I think that mental change has been a big one in shift in terms of what we're here to do and what we're here to achieve. We're not here to make the numbers up, maybe scalp one team, win some home games. That's not what we're here to do anymore. And I think, like I say, that's sunk in with the players, and hopefully it comes to fruition on the field.
What's the agreement sort of commercially with the Alexandra Stadium? I mean, I'd hate to think that you're going to get kicked out because a big sporting event comes along or a big concert or whatever. So
no, I mean, don't get me wrong. We have to manage our fixtures around them. So like the British Athletics Championships are there. They take precedence. I know where I sit on the food chain. That makes sense. Obviously, the RFL are accommodating. We can kind of stipulate to the RFL early on, before any fixtures are released, and say, look, these weekends are no-goes for us. If we can make sure we avoid them, they do everything they can to do that. So, yeah, it depends where it was. But in general, we've got our fixtures blocked out for the year. They know that. And then there'll be the odd one we might have to shift. So
if we're looking at the ambition of the Hurricanes then, in 10 years' time, ideally, where would you want to be in 10 years' time? How big is the ambition for the
Ideally
club?
Or realistic? Ideally, just flying back from Australia, having won the World Cup. No, I mean, for me, and it sounds corny, I'm not just bothered about the Hurricanes. For me, the perfect kind of solution would be if we were exactly where we were still kind of in that same bracket of League One, in and around getting in the playoffs. However, we had a women's team, we had a wheelchair team, we had that academy reserves team. The Midlands amateur clubs were filtering up into that reserves team. We had a trial system that allowed those guys to get into the Hurricanes, and the regional game was really thriving. And it was because of what we were doing. I think, do you know what? That's great. I'd rather that than say get a sponsor that comes in and goes, here's £500,000. Get into the championship. I wouldn't see that as a success. As an achievement. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, if you secure a massive sponsor commercially, that's an accolade to be commended. Fine, but for the sustainability of the club, that's not great, because if that sponsor, for whatever reason, their business fails, what have I got? What have we got as a Midlands brand? Nothing. So that would be my ideal, that we had that kind of massive infrastructure that was working efficiently, because, you know, if we've got that, you'll get sponsors that want to get involved anyway. You'll get more people involved. You'll get more people through the gate. More money. It all comes hand in hand. So I think you've got to grow it from the ground up. We've got to do it sustainably. We're not looking to kind of come in, chuck a quick buck at it, hopefully get some bigger players. Let's jump up a league. That's not what we're trying to do by any stretch.
I'm sure anybody that's listening is... anyone's listening within our area, you're saying all the right things. If from my point of view anyway, I think that's what the amateur clubs and rugby league fans in the area, it's exactly what they want to hear, I would have thought.
Yeah, good.
Just a little bit of a wild card question, really. No need to worry. But, I mean, you work for a big construction company up north.
Yeah.
I mean, have you done anything to pick out talent within Big Red, or, you know, do you think there's any
as in rugby talent?
As in rugby talent, yeah.
I train most Tuesday nights, but no, not necessarily with it. So I leave most of the recruiting and stuff to Rich, and it's his team that pick that side of stuff up.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, maybe there's past players, or, you know, players that never didn't quite make it elsewhere in there, and who knows, you know.
Yeah, I need my guys to focus on building buildings, to be honest. I don't need to distract them with rugby. But no, I think, like I say, we are always exploring other avenues and stuff like that. Rich is very, very good when it comes to recruitment. I think we've obviously had to be historically, and still now, we haven't got the biggest playing budget. Some guys that we are trying to recruit, we do have to say to them, look, you're going to have to drive to Birmingham. So we've got to attract players other ways, and by having a great club culture and things like that plays a big part of it, because at the end of the day, these guys still go to work Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
So they've got to enjoy what they do when they've got to come on a Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Sunday. So the culture of the club and what we can offer them as a whole package is a big thing in the way that we try and recruit as well.
So just touching on Rich, your head coach, I've spoken to him a little bit. Just give us a little bit of background on him and where he's come from, and how he's got into the head coaching role at the Hurricanes.
Yeah, so Rich obviously played his rugby in Hull, played England students and stuff like that, and then like most of us, dodgy knees, stopped early, and got into coaching. Did quite a bit of coaching the community circuit with Hull before he kind of moved down here. And that's when he got involved with Coventry Bears. He was an assistant coach at Coventry Bears, and then kind of moved up through to head coach.
Right, okay.
So yeah, he kind of came through the ranks that way.
Greg, I just want to I've got an interest in business myself, but what similarities do you see between being the CEO of a rugby league club and work in a professional environment?
Problems, lots of them.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
And you're not expected to solve them all.
No, definitely not all problems. There's good days and bad days, that's for sure. For me, they're very similar. Obviously, you're setting goals and KPIs. We spoke about them earlier, KPIs and goals. You're setting them for a business. You're setting them for a team. I mean, I set out, me and Rich kind of said, look, what do we want to achieve as a rugby team? You kind of then setting your core values that are going to help you achieve that, and smaller KPIs underneath. It's like we said, you've got your overall, which is we want to get to the playoffs. You're then going to target certain games. Within those certain games, you're setting certain targets where you're saying, right, complete for the first 15 minutes, we want to complete every single set. We want to turn over the ball in the opposition 85% of the time. So it's about having that kind of short-term to medium-term to long-term strategy to hit your overall KPI. So in terms of how you build, I think is exactly the same. And then the other thing that's identical is people. At the end of the day, if you're running a business, it's all about people. Rugby club, all about people, and managing your stakeholders and getting the best out of them and getting the best for them. So that for me, they're identical. Like I say, it's just what is the end goal that's different. How you get there and things, and the mentality you've got to have are the same in my eyes.
What kind of persona would you want the players and the backroom staff to hold of you? Do you know what I mean? If you could pick out 2 or 3 traits which you want to be known for or live by, what would those traits be?
I think honesty and integrity is a big one. I mean, we've probably all had them in the past. You've worked for people and they just tell you what you want to hear, and that works for a certain amount of time with a certain amount of people. But I think giving honest feedback in the right way is the main thing. So I think honesty is a big one. I always say that for people that work with me. I say, look, if you ask me, I'll always tell you the truth. I won't lie. Like I say, how you deliver that truth, if it's not an easy message, is absolutely key. But it's key not to lie. And then just generally hardworking, and I don't ask anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Like I said about the job not being sexy, kit man, done that, doing the scoreboard, doing all the stuff, ragging the post pads in and out. I wouldn't ask anyone to do anything that I haven't done myself or wouldn't do. So yeah, they'd be the main ones. But like I say, I think honesty, integrity, and hard working would be the main traits. If people said, "Oh, I did that."
And what part of the working week in regards to the Hurricanes do you think? Right, okay, that's all sorted. Now I can just steel myself a little bit. Long enough to enjoy a bit of what's going on.
With the Hurricane, I think I'll be honest. It's been massive effort getting to that first game, working with the council and things like that. Because the way it went with those guys, obviously they were delivering the Commonwealth Games, so the Hurricanes were very much not the priority. So they got that done, kind of delivered that in September, and then rightly so. They were all ready for a break, so they all kind of disappeared for October, in which point I'm thinking, shit, we need to get this over the line here, please. So we were probably a bit more rushed than I wanted to be, because it's been in the pipeline for a long time, but like I said, just because of the nature of...
Was it always the goal to end up at the stadium? Or
Yeah.
did you bid for it or
No.
Yeah,
So it was the goal. Obviously, the guys commentary were at Butts Park. We then came away from there with the ambition of having 1 year at Birmingham Solihull Bees to move into the stadium at the end of the Commonwealth Games. So we've done it, albeit this year we're on the warm up arena. The aim is to get into the main ground next year.
I think it was the minute everybody sort of stood up on it and went, whoa, this is a big deal. Because I'll be honest, it was the minute I sort of looked on Twitter and went, okay, this is big now. This is they're properly going for this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were asking us for a long time, like saying, is it happening? Is it happening? And we were obviously under NDA and stuff like that. Yeah. So we kind of said, we can't say. Yeah. It's looking like it's gonna. And then, like I said, we almost fell at the final hurdle with getting into the main stadium, but the blueprint's there to move over for us, which is great. So in terms of back to the original question of it, enjoying it, I probably didn't enjoy that first game until in the bus home when it was honestly it was done. The full day was finished. Like everything had operationally, as in running of the event, because he was running the event basically, had gone okay. Obviously the guys had won on the field. At that point, I kind of sat back and had a fair few pints, to be honest, and I enjoyed it then.
So you don't necessarily enjoy the 80 minutes of rugby because you're too busy worried about everything else that's going on around the stadium. And
I'm not a good watcher anyway. Right. I'm not a good watcher, I'll be honest. But there does come those times where you get to you do just sit and you do enjoy the game. Yeah. Obviously, the stress of watching your team is always going to be there, but just sat in it, enjoying it is good.
You have to have a word with Derek Beaumont because he's always having a laugh, isn't he? But looks
yeah. That'll take a bit.
Might give you a bit of Derek. Media advice as well.
Yeah. No, like I say, I think once you've kind of got everything in place, for me, this is my first kind of full year, I'd say, because I got involved Christmas last year. By which point, you've done a lot of stuff already, but this has kind of been my first full year. From a chief exec side of things, a lot of your work's done last third of the playing season through to first ball kicked, really. Yeah. In terms of player contracts, anything commercially you're doing off the field and stuff like that. So in my head, I'm thinking I've done a hell of a lot, and I've said this to the lads, I've said this to Rich. I was like, everything that we said we were going to deliver as a club off the field, we're pretty much there. It's over to you boys now, and I'm hoping that this is going to be my bit of the year where I kind of sit back and do just go to the games and have a nice time, and hopefully see the lads deliver on the field and see the people coming in and having a great day and go, all that was worth it. We're going the right way.
Yeah. Anything else you want to ask, Karl, before we move on? Or are you good?
No, I think you explained everything absolutely brilliantly, to be honest with you. I'm really pleased with the things that you've been telling us, and it sounds really positive. So now, good.
So you got the Rugby League Outsiders stamp of approval.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy to get that.
See what comments you get first.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to our weekly prediction round, which I've got to say, I know I'm doing shocking at it.
Well, yeah. No, you're only 1 point behind me, to be honest with you. But the highlight of last week was when you said Wakefield were going to beat Wigan
by a narrow margin,
60 points to nil later. And you still haven't backed Leeds yet either. So
no, round 5 Leeds.
Right,
Wakey could be in trouble this week. Full stop, I think.
Yeah. They might not actually be playing, had they?
No, the pitch doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, okay. Right, let's Thursday night game then. First game is Warrington v Salford. Warrington coming on the back of a win at Huddersfield, which, we all tipped Huddersfield, so we got that one wrong. Salford lost to Hull KR. They played all right, did Salford, but not good enough. Hull KR looking strong. So, Greg, I'll go to you. Who have you got?
I'll say. Do you want full scores as well?
Just the winner.
Oh, Warrington.
Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it could go either way. It really, it's one of those games where, Warrington did really well.
Sitting on the fence.
Yeah. I had a great quote this week, which is either have a shit or get off the toilet. You know what I mean? Great. It describes my life completely. I'm going to go Warrington.
Yeah, I'm going Warrington. I do think Salford will pick up some big wins this season. They have got a strong team, but Yeah, Warrington. Okay, Friday night game then. Catalan v Hull FC. Hull obviously beat your boys last week, and Catalan won again. They beat Lee, which I thought we would have expected anyway. They were at home. So, yeah. Catalan v Hull.
Catalan again, I'd say home win on that, I think.
Yeah, I can't see Hull travelling all that way and then pulling off a win against a strong Catalan team. So, yep, Catalan for me.
All
right, well, I'm going Hull then.
I was going to say it's going to be bored if we agree.
Yeah. That could be the point now. A claw back, couldn't it?
It could be. Hull are looking pretty good. So
I know.
Started off strong. Right, Wakefield, winless.
By the way, just a little story on Hull there. Obviously, Brad Dwyer was at Leeds last year. I personally think he should have been in the team much more than he was. And he just seems to be doing so well at Hull. Yeah. It's a great little story for him there. So, good effort.
Wakefield then winless against Huddersfield if it goes ahead, like we've already touched on. So that might be the only chance Wakefield have of not conceding this week is if the game gets cancelled because of the pitch. So, yeah, who you got?
Wakey lad, I'll stick loyal, but yeah, Wakefield. I hope the game does go ahead because there's certain ones. It's going to be a tough all year for Wakey where you think there's ones in the calendar that they're going to have to pinpoint.
Yeah,
I reckon this will be one of them that they'll be saying, look, we should be looking at. I know Huddersfield obviously got the benefit of not starting because of the Saints week, didn't they? But no, if it goes ahead, I think the boys will have something to prove as well. The fact that quite often when shit's going on off the field, it actually pulls you together on it. So I think that's fingers crossed. Bit of loyalty.
Is that your,
I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm going to back Huddersfield by a narrow win.
I'm going Huddersfield. I haven't backed or said anything complimentary about Wakefield yet, so sorry. I'm sorry, but yeah, I can only go Huddersfield. Right, the big game then. I'll go to you on this one first. Saints v Leeds. Leeds obviously winless again. And Saints, massive win against Castleford, I thought. They're flying all over the side of the world and coming back and parties, and there didn't seem to be any sort of hangover there, and they were firing on all cylinders, I thought. I think, well, I can't see anybody beating them at the minute. They're looking that good. So
yeah, just class outfit, yeah. I'm going to go Saints. But, I think right at the start of the season, I thought, we're going to be 5 rounds in before Leeds start kicking in. However, I'm actually wondering whether it's going to be longer than that because there's got to be some kind of seismic shift in what they're doing at the minute. And although it was close,
they got in round 5, seeing as you were predicting when they're coming good.
I don't know. I've no idea. Can't remember.
I've got
Wakey away. Postponed 2-point win.
Yeah, I'm going Saints every day of the week.
Yes, Saints. It's tough to back it. Like you say, it's tough to back against them. I thought Cass actually started the game really well. Obviously, they'd come out with a bit of a game plan saying we're going to play wide. I think Jake Mammo made probably 4 breaks in the first 20 minutes there. Yeah, they didn't convert. But
they were the own worst enemies, Cass, weren't they, at the weekend?
They definitely squandered a few, but as you say, they're just that class kind of shone through in the end. And you see they're going to be tough to beat, definitely.
Okay, Castleford versus Wigan. Wigan obviously took Wakey to the cleaners 60-0. And Castleford, we've just touched on, they lost to the Saints, but did play pretty well. So it is at Castleford. Greg, who you got?
Yeah, like I say, we have obviously got a bit of a Castleford connection. I think they're doing a lot of stuff right there. I think Castle do.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cass win.
Pressure's on me then, isn't it? No, I'm going Wigan. I think that Wigan looked so good last week. I can only go Wigan.
Who are they playing?
Sorry?
Who are they playing?
Yeah.
Right, go on. Hull KR v Lee. So Hull KR looking pretty good. They beat Salford, didn't they, on the Thursday night game? And Lee played well this week. They went away to Catalan. I think a lot of people expected them to get a bit of a drubbing, and it was pretty close for most of the game. Half time, there were only a couple of points in it.
Yeah, I think Hull are good at home, aren't they? I think the Craven Park. I think it might just pull them through. I think I reckon that'll be the best game of the weekend. To be honest,
yeah, and me.
I think that'll be really good to watch. But I think I think if Lachlan Coote's back, 'cause he was injured when he last week. I think if he's back, I think, can I have that as a caveat? if he plays anyway. No, I think that will be the best game of the weekend, but I think Hull will nick it.
I don't just want to seem like I'm following whatever Greg says, but I am. Right, but no, I'm going to go Hull KR as well. I think Lee have got a big, shocking result coming up. I don't think it's this week, though. So, yeah, I'm going to go Hull KR.
Yeah, and me. To be boring. Yeah, I do think Lee are going to pick up some wins this year.
Yeah.
I think there will be. I think they'll stay up.
I do definitely.
But they've got
I won't say as well. I won't say they'll finish 11th. I think they'll stay up comfortable.
Yeah, just done the playoffs or pushing for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they'll do really well.
Fight it out with Leeds.
That's our predictions around them. Short and sweet this week.
Okay, so we now move on to the part of the show that we call the Golden Point, extra time. So we ask each guest to pose a question for the oncoming guest. So we had Graham and Jason Spafford last week, and they asked a couple of belting questions. So the first one is, apart from the skill of the players, what is the cultural difference in St Helens that sets them apart? And I suppose in order to answer that, we've all got to assume that there is something that sets them apart.
Well, whatever it is, if I can bottle it and bring it to the Hurricanes, it'd be good. I do think as a player, that winning is a habit as much as losing is. Sometimes you get on that roll where equally games get to that little turning point where it could be 20 points all with 10 minutes left, and when you're in that winning streak, you're just calm. You're just looking around. Everyone's the same. You think, don't worry, stick to the game plan. We'll win. We're going to win this. There's no issue. Whereas when the shoe's on the other foot, you manage to lose. You can be 20 points to 10 up with 10 minutes left, and you're looking over your shoulder thinking, shit, don't do that wrong. Don't do that wrong. Or we'll come back and you kind of you snatch lost from the jaws of victory, and they're clearly in that frame of mind where they will walk onto every field going, don't care who we're playing, we're going to win. We've got a tried and tested blueprint. We've got our game plan. We don't veer away from that. We will win, and that counts for so much. And I'd say that'll be a big part of what's going on. Clearly, everything they're doing off the field is contributing to that. But as a player, when you're looking around and you've got confidence in everyone in the group, there's no kind of niggle. You've got, as I say, you've got the blueprint that's ingrained in everyone's mind. No one's questioning it. I think that is untouchable. Untouchable as a player, as a team. If you can emulate that, you're going to go well.
But even the commentators say that, don't never write off the Saints. It's just what they say every time they're on the TV. And if they've got that belief that something will happen, don't worry, something will happen. The inverse of that is you've got the opposition now spooked because they think, right, what they're going to do, where does it come from, and when does it happen? And it makes them nervous and edgy, perhaps, and like you say, and then
I think the Saints, they've got such a belief amongst the players now, haven't they? I mean, when they went to Australia, they never for a second believed that they were going to lose that game, did they? They went there, and although all the media, we were all saying, we can't see them winning this one, but they'll have a good crack at it. But you see in the players and you listen to the interviews, they never for a second thought they were going to lose that game. And I think a lot of that is to do with... I think it's to do with the culture that they've brought through the club, through the junior ranks, because there's such a close-knit team out there. So you've been talking about Hurricanes, how you want to, build this umbrella and create an academy of players and that, and keep them together. They've been together. A lot of those players have been together for so long. They almost know what the other player's going to do before they do it. The Lomaxes, and they've all come through the same junior academy, and then they sprinkle in there a few international big players, and you've got this just fantastic team.
Yeah, but it's not just that, is it? I mean, they bring some players in that, that do well in like the championship or whatever. Bring them in, develop them as players. I mean, Alex Walmsley is probably one of your Joe Batchelor is one of your best, examples of that. And suddenly they're on the world class players. Like, how did that happen? It's
playing with good players around you always helps as well. They're going to bring the best out of you, but being in that environment as well is going to excel anyone's development, isn't it? But like you say, the bit about having that togetherness and understanding of each other on the field, you always remember like famous centre-winger partnerships, famous halfback, and it's because they've been together for so long and they know each other's next move. But I think culture as a whole is huge, and what's happening that as a fan you might not always see, because you see what they're doing on the field, but you don't see what it's like. You don't see whether they're knocking the shit out of each other in training because they don't like each other, whether they're going back in the dressing room at half time and effing and jeffing at each other and having a fallout, or whether they come in and someone can go, what you're doing there wasn't right. The other person just goes, yeah, you're right, my bad. Because that's got a massive effect as well, is that kind of whole dynamic in the dressing room that we, from a fan perspective, you don't see.
No.
You don't see, because you can have the kind of training environment you've probably been in, where you can have a full-on fight in training, but it's fine because everyone's got absolute respect for each other. They've just pissed each other off for that little bit too much. It's fine. We move on.
Yeah,
and maybe even cleared the air.
Yeah. It need. We've all heard the stories where coach will go, "It needs to happen.
Yeah,
it needs to happen. It's detracting from training. They need to kick 7 bells out of each other for 5 minutes, forget about it, and we move on." And I've known that'll be happening it'll be happening in Saints. It'll be a great place to be, definitely, to work, to play, everything.
I wonder how many sports psychologists they employ. That'd be interesting. I want to have a bit of a fly on the wall in the St Helens dressing room. And
well, I mean, I have a couple of friends who are sports psychologists, and the sad thing is that they usually only get called in when things are going wrong.
I was genuinely just about to go, there'll probably only be one. I think there'll be one that's got it's got a theory, it's clearly working. Like you say, you tend to bring him in where you go, shit, we need to change something. What could you come in with your theory, try and do something different before a game? Let's do yoga in the change rooms. Like, right, you do it, what should we do? Like I say, I think there'll be one person that's been there for quite a while now. It's a guess, but we'll be wrong now. There'll be 10 of them.
Let us know if you know. Okay, we're happy. Move on to the next one. Okay, so from Jason then, and this is like, we could probably do 3 or 4 different episodes on this, but and his question, and this is how he posed it: what do we actually need to do to develop rugby league outside the Heartlands? And that, I mean, it's a huge question.
That's
but
why
I'm interested
we're here.
Yeah.
Might get 5 seasons out of this question.
Yeah. I'm just going to pose that as my question to whoever's next. Just roll it over. Look, let's be honest. We need to, and I'm not just saying this because of my involvement, but we need to have a team that people can get behind. All right, we've got. I've said this to the players. We can do everything we want off the field. You've got to have a good product on it. At the end of the day, we've got to have a team that's playing well. That's something that everyone wants to, like I say, get behind and can enjoy. That is the main thing. I think the next question, obviously the obvious knock-on question, is how do we get there? I think it comes back to some of the stuff we were saying earlier about kind of having that pyramid of people all working the same way. Clearly, financially, you need investment. Like there's no point dodging around it. You need money to survive. So there's more than one way to skin a cat and get the money and things like that. And that's about not doing it right. You're probably doing some people a disservice by saying that, but doing it in a certain way so that it's sustainable, so that you're not one company going pop away from the club kind of nosediving sort of thing. But they're the main things I would say. Like I say, we've got to have a team that everyone looks and wants to go watch, because, like I've said, it's all well and good for us getting people through the gate and saying, come watch the Hurricanes. If they go, yeah, I'm going to go watch the Hurricanes, we get stuffed 60-0. The kids aren't going to go, oh, I'm a Hurricanes fan. Yeah. Mummy, can you buy me that purple swirly shirt? Because mates are going to take the piss. They lost 50-0 last week. So, like I said, I think they're the 2 main things. I think from my side, obviously not been involved that long in terms of like RFL involvement. I think we just said it off air. I think there is a real appetite from the RFL for it to work. I'm not brown nosing. I genuinely can't say enough for the amount of support I've had from them.
Yeah.
To if I ask for anything, make a joke with Pat Kluski, who's head of operations for the RFL. I must be his number one call, because I ring him all the time. But they can't do enough for us, and I do feel there's a real appetite for it to work. We all know that there's kind of been the clubs that have had a go at it in the past and things like that. But for me, I genuinely don't see how it can't work. Call me an ultra enthusiast, but in terms of like, what do we need to do? Well, there's the element of we need to convert. Like, there's no bones about it. We need to convert the people that are rugby fans and go, right, don't just be a rugby union fan, be a rugby league fan as well. I say I'm testament to that. I've never played a game of rugby league in my life, but I'm more of a league fan than union. There's that, and then coupled with that, there's where we are with 3.2 million population, second biggest in the country. Why should it not work? Like what?
Yeah, I mean, you've already got loads of rugby league fans in the area, aren't they? Just essentially never really had a team to support. I mean, he's a Leeds fan, I'm a Bradford fan, but we're not going to travel up there every week to watch a game. We could quite happily jump on board with the Hurricanes, and if there's a product there that people want to go watch, we'll be there. I can't see why people can't have a second team.
No, and for me, if we were that, and you said Hurricanes are everyone's favourite second team, I could live with that.
Still a success,
I could
isn't it?
definitely live with that. It's something to get on board, and I think from a conversion perspective, again, we'll repeat what we said off air, but it's a good stepping stone for the people that have probably been used to just doing the 45 minutes across the M62. It's not unbearable to go to Birmingham. It's an hour and a half, hour and 40. You can do it. You can do it. I think it's getting your head around that, because you look at that swear word football, but their fans, it's a spectacle. And away day is great. You actually look and go, oh, that's a great bus trip. That's a great train trip. And the big ones are the ones that you look out for in your fixture list. And I think it's changing that mindset. An away day is actually a really good thing. It's a good event. And I think I think people will see this as it is an opportunity to start changing that mindset of the people that probably historically haven't wanted to go more than half an hour away from home.
Okay, so talking about away fans quickly, and if you wanting to get people down to Birmingham to watch the game, make it an event, what sort of things have you got planned that are going to be going on around the stadium that outside of the rugby league, just to keep the interest there, families and things? Have you got stuff going on?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the main thing is in terms of getting the people in locally. We said about the kind of Storm Chaser memberships and stuff like that. Then we're going to look to target certain games where we potentially make it a family fun day, because we've still got we've got the space to do that, with us being on that warm up arena where we can have kind of bouncy castle. We could get matches on before and all that kind of stuff to make it an atmosphere. I mean, we mentioned Derek earlier. I probably can't afford scouting for girls or anything like that just yet, but. Mike Lomas, our chairman, is decent on a trumpet. We could maybe get him giving that a blast. But yeah,
full on his own trumpet.
He's very good. He's good at that. But yeah, like I say, the options are endless for us. Obviously, where we are, the transport links are brilliant, and in Birmingham, there's so much to do itself. So I think people, if they want to come and make a full day of it, that's a great opportunity for us.
Are you tapping into like dance schools, cheerleaders, that sort of thing? Have you got a mascot sorted out? So, I'm going to ask you about the mascot, because I was looking at thinking, Hurricanes, what's the mascot going to be?
Well, I might be giving away. This might be a massive leak.
Something's in the pipeline, isn't it?
Yeah, this might be a massive leak, but we've actually looked at the costume for it that we could get. And basically, it's a big tornado. His name is Gus.
Gus.
Gusty.
So that's an exclusive here. So yeah,
another one.
We're looking at that. My wife used to actually be a dancer for rugby league cheerleaders and stuff like that. So we've got a coach there ready to go.
Right.
So all the blueprints today, it's ready. It's ready to run.
Ready to put it into action this year.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. Yeah.
You are, I mean, I know your wife's a dog groomer. Maybe she can get a job at Wigan sorting out the haircuts.
There's a few bad ones in rugby full stop now. You look and you think...
Brad Fash. That's a shock.
What's he said when he's walked up?
No. Can you make me look like a twat, please?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say that first time on. I thought, can I say it? But yeah.
I was just thinking, marketing, quite often people think that marketing is just an event that happens, but we know it's a series of events, and for me, I am developing as a Hurricane fan. I am, and when I look at it and say, okay, what are the events that's happened? And it was like Karl and I was chatting, and he said, right, Alexander, and straight away I was thinking, well, I'd like to go to that stadium.
Yeah.
That was the first one. Then you start looking at the branding, and you think it's not in competitive colours, and I can get behind that. Tick. Next one. Obviously, we're chatting to you. We got a bit of an insight behind the club, and that helped because you feel like you know the club. Yeah. What do you think the events of a converted fan or whatever is?
Yeah, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to put something that appeals to everyone. So that one of the big ones for us is you want it to be a day that everyone can come to. It's not just dad takes son. Like you want somewhere that mum can come as well, and the full family. So it's about offering something to everyone. It might not be on every single game, but certain days in the year where you think, right, that's the family day. Everyone goes and things like that. And then commercially, you want certain events through the year. So obviously, the opening game was a fairly big one. We'll have an end of season do where there'll be a big dinner in the stadium and things like that. And that won't just be players only. Like some dues are just for players. Anyone will be able to come to that. You'll have to get a ticket. There won't cost a lot, but you could come and have a dinner and watch the end of season presentation, hear speeches from players, and hopefully there'll be kids that want to go, oh, I can go meet such and such a player, because by that point in the season they've been watching that player all year and they absolutely love them. But like I say, the whole season is about creating different events, creating different crescendos as well, because you can get to the point where you're just doing the same things every week, like a match report on a Monday, announce the squad on a Tuesday, where are we going on the Thursday, and it just gets monotonous. So it's about keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting, because social media is massive now. The RFL, the way the funding works is you've got different pillars that you get marked on and scored on. Social media is a big one. So the more interaction that you get in your social media, the better score you get, and you'll get additional funding from that pillar. So the marketing side of things is absolutely huge.
Really interesting to learn that bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Quickly, Greg, you've got a fantastic offer for people watching this show. We've got 2 season tickets to give away.
Yeah. So what we said is we give 2 season tickets away. Those 2 season tickets will also get 2 tickets to the Challenge Cup final.
Wow.
And also they'll get 2 tickets, the chance to pick one of the home games, or basically they can come have hospitality before the game as well. So it's kind of three-pronged, I guess.
Fantastic. We're not allowed to enter though, are we?
Why? You're not. I've told you the answer to the question.
We're controlling the entries though.
No, I'm joking. Okay, so what is your question for people who are going to be watching this? We'll have a section on our website to feed the answers through, or comment on YouTube or on our social media pages.
Yeah, I'll give you that link in a second, yeah.
Okay, so what's the question that you want to put out there that people have got to get right to be entered into the draw?
So, question, we'll probably say don't have to get it right, but closest wins.
Yeah, okay.
Closest wins is what was the attendance to that first game at the Alexander Stadium?
Right, yeah.
Is that something, is it searchable?
It's not to my knowledge it's searchable. The RFL know it.
Right, okay.
There'll be a select few people within the Hurricanes that'll know it.
Yeah,
so I can make sure they don't win, obviously. But yeah. Okay,
amazing. So the link in order to submit your guess, I suppose, because nobody will know, is rugbyleagueoutsiders.com/win. So as simple as that. And we'll also have links in wherever you're listening or watching to this podcast. We'll have links in the description below. Don't just whack it down in a comment on YouTube. That's not good enough. You need to get yourself to rugbyleagueoutsiders.com/win and then stick your answer in there. Karl, we just now move over to our look forward. So have you got any exclusives on the next guests over the next couple of weeks?
Yes, I have. I was just trying to think who they were then, but yeah, absolutely. So we're going from one extreme to the other. So we've got a fantastic professional club on this week, and then next week we have a brand new club. We've got the Worcester Wanderers on next week, so they're going to be coming on to promote themselves. Like I say, we've all got to get behind these new clubs and promote them and push them up as best we can. So yeah, they're coming on next week. I've got the I don't know if you call it director of rugby and their head coach coming on next week.
Yeah, and finally, before we kind of wrap up, I just want to encourage people to keep watching, keep listening, keep commenting, especially because, it seems like there's a lot of voyeurs going on at the minute. I know Rugby League's full of voyeurs, right? But, there's people watching and not even saying hello, So, I just encourage people this week to leave a comment. Let us know you're out there. Let us know what's going right, what you think's good, and what you think perhaps needs a bit of work and a bit of development. And, we'll turn this show into something that everybody is looking forward to listening to. So.
Yeah, I mean, we no blueprint really, have we, where it's going to go and how it's going to go and what we want to put on here. But if people need to get in touch with us and tell us what they want to see, and we'll deliver it.
Yeah. Okay, Greg. Anything we should have asked you that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not to my knowledge. I'll be honest. I was worried about coming in thinking they're going to ask me something. I'll just blurt it out and think, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have said that." But I think we'll see. I might have come away unscathed, but no, I've really enjoyed it, lads. Thanks.
Well, you've definitely presented yourself and the club, in a great light in my eyes. So, from me, thanks for coming along and sharing an insight into the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and from me, it's been absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate it coming down, especially the fact that you've had to travel from Manchester just to come and sit on our sofa, and now you've got to travel all the way back to Wakefield. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, it's been great. Thanks.
Okay, so until next week, take care. That's the final whistle for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on social media and share this podcast with your friends. And as always, if you have a story to tell, a club to plug, or a player that deserves recognition, we want to hear from you. So until next time on the Rugby League Outsiders, take care.